Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of Diamond Rivera Films, and you are tuned into another special episode of Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. And here today we have a very special guest, all the way in New York City, my brother from another. The owner of Bachata Rosa. Everybody knows him. His amazing events. It's Stepping Out Studios. The man himself, Mr. Dore Kalmar.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my brother. As we see these past few months been going by, and it's been so long since we've seen one another, man. I just want to know, how have you been during this crazy time?
It's like a change of image. Like you don't know how you're gonna come out of this. Like I have hair now. It's like what the hell is happening? But yeah, it's been real. I've The first few months I was home. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go on the subway. I'm sure everybody went through the same thing. And just trying to get by, biting into my savings, I want to stay in New York. I didn't want to go back to Israel, which I know a lot of people have been doing. They've not going to Israel, but going back
Mm.
home. Um, so yeah, I was just here. I was, hustling and trying to find what to do. And I found some beautiful things. Um, I was working a lot on music, which
Mm.
is what I do. I'm a musician, first of all. And I've been working on some really interesting projects. And yeah, and now things are, starting to get back a little bit. But I've been focusing mostly on that. I haven't been doing any dancing, or, well, that's not quite true. I've been doing some dancing, but I haven't done any organizing. Like I
Hmm.
decided that I'm not going to do any events that are mine. I helped with some of like things that were with the current climate, like social climate. Like
Hmm.
I've helped Valentina. She was doing some amazing work and like the Black Lives Matter issue.
Yes.
And I've been helping her with that, but it was entirely hers. I wasn't organizing. I wasn't initiating because I felt that it wasn't a priority. And yeah, so that's the that was my decision with myself, that I'm not going to do dance events. I'm not going to push for that. I think that uh, the right thing to do is to wait until everybody feels safe and that it's responsible to start opening up again. Uh, but yeah, working, you can think about stuff. That's what I've been doing. I've been thinking about the life after, but I haven't done anything tangible um, because it's just not the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just hearing it from you, it means a lot, and realizing a person like yourself, and we're really going to get back into understanding not just Dora as the event organizer, as the dancer, but also the musician,
Right.
and realizing there's so much more to you than just what mainly people see at a social on a Friday night.
Right.
And honestly, I'm glad that we can have this opportunity to really kind of connect and build with one another. Me being one of the people who has filmed at your events for many years, but
Yeah.
also has seen the creation from the beginning of one of New York's really renowned and well known events in terms for our dance community. I think it is important to get the understanding from organizers like yourself, because again, I believe your voice matters, just like
Thank
many
you.
others, and I'm glad that I have this opportunity to kind of gauge your mind and pick your brain on things. But again, this really is a time, I would say, is really celebrating all of the success that you've had thus far, from the beginnings all the way to the present day, even what we're going through. And, again, I appreciate you taking your time. For me, I think many people know Dore as the guy about Bachata Rosa, or the friendly dancer you can social dance with, the instructor. But I think it's so much more important for many people to understand who Dore is as a person, who
Thank
Dore
you.
is,
Yeah.
as a human being, because I think too that's what uh, lacks a lot in a lot of social interactions. As
Mhm.
many people see us, even me be the videographer or you or the organizer, they're just fixated on the dancing, but sometimes the conversations get lost in translation. There's really,
Right.
it's like, hey, let's have a dance. Okay, I'll see you again sooner or later. But I think now more than ever, it's made us realize that, just reaching out to people that we know is definitely imperative.
Yeah.
And for me now, I really would love to understand, of course, we're going to celebrate everything you've been able to do, especially in New York and abroad, but let's really take it all the way back, to the humble beginnings, as many people say, of how it kind of all started and how your dance journey was created.
Okay, so I was born in 1990. No, just kidding. Uh, anyway, okay, so what people need to understand about me is that I am a very shy person. At least I used to be. And when I was, until I think like the age of 20, which is when I started dancing, I wasn't very social. I was, I had like my close group of friends. My body was just a means of transportation for my head. And I, it's like, when I found dance, I didn't really want to start dancing. A friend of mine made me. I didn't want to go salsa dancing. I started from Cuban salsa, and for my 20th birthday, a friend of mine took me to this club that was like in an industrial area. It was like looked like a murder scene, like seriously. And we went into the salsa club. Uh, and all of a sudden, from like an industrial area that is like looks deserted, I opened the doors to like 400 people dancing, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And he told me, "Yeah, I took you to salsa dancing for your birthday," and I was like, "Bro, I don't want to do this. I'm not a good dancer." I was like, "Just go." And I went,
Yeah.
and I took my first lesson, and um, I'm not going to the like this story is has more depth into it, but I
Yeah.
just fell in love with the dance. Um, so I danced Cuban salsa, and then after about 6 months, I started dancing on one. And about a year after that, I started dancing on two and bachata like simultaneously. Um, and I've been dancing. I started when I was in the military. So when I just started
Mm.
dancing, I was dancing like once every couple weeks. And when I got released from the military, I started dancing like 5 times a week.
Mm.
And in Israel, it's crazy. You can go dancing any day. It's not like here where you can go like mostly on the weekends. And
Mm-hmm.
then during the week, it's like either you go to a bar that has dancing or you go to a place and there's like 20 people on the dance floor on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's not how it is in Israel. In Israel, you go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and there's 300 people on the dance floor. It's crazy what's going on there. And when we say
Wow.
that Israeli scene is crazy, people don't freaking understand what we mean. You have to go and see for yourself. So yeah, you dance all day, every day, like all night. On a Tuesday, you can get home at 3, 4 in the morning. It's
Mm.
crazy. Um, and I didn't buy into bachata at first.
Okay.
I was like, I was like the salsa haters. I was like, oh, it's just for like couples, people. And I had a good friend who said, "You will be great at this. Dance with me." So I've danced with her, and she was like, "Yeah, you need to do this." And I was like, "I'll just dance with you." She took me to this other club that had more bachata oriented space, and I heard the song that I really liked, but I didn't get the name. So I was like, okay, I'll just come next time and then I'll ask the name for it. And the song didn't play, so I was dancing. I wasn't just like waiting for the song to come. So I
Yeah.
was dancing, and then I got into it. It didn't come, so I come the next week, and again the song didn't play. So I was dancing. I was getting into it. I met new people. I started being more social, and like I think maybe 5 months after, I was like, "Oh, that's the song." And then I kind of like went to the DJ and asked him for the name. The song, by the way, is uh, "Un Beso" by Aventura.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
A very, very
Oro
famous
con un
song.
beso. Yeah,
Oh
it's
man, classic.
classic. Um, so yeah, that's a song that kind of got me into bachata. And that friend of mine, whose name is Legal, but yeah, nobody knows her here. So yeah, that's how I started with bachata. And I took an instructor course for salsa that was 9 months long. And I joined a dance team of an amazing, amazing choreographer named Tamil Sabarov. And I've been with his team for about a year and a half. Then I got offered to teach at Havana Club, which was the club that I taught for 2 or 3 years before I moved to the US. And I got a lot of experience because that club, that bachata scene in that club was very, very empty, and we had to really work our asses off to get it going. And I was there every day that it operated. I was always there early, even on days that I wasn't working. I was there before everybody else, and I had to make sure that the room is operating. I turned on the speakers. I made sure that all the cables are there. I would bring the computer. I really got the sense of what it is to organize and what it is to be responsible for an event. Even though it wasn't my event, the organizers, they had this huge club of, and when I say it's a big club, on a good night 700 people would be there. It's
Oh my
amazing,
God.
amazing, amazing. Yes, yes.
That's a festival congress type
That's a
of.
festival congress. Yeah, every Thursday night there were between 500 to 700 people. Thursdays were stronger than Saturdays. That's how like this club was like, on the money. And but the bachata room was like, where the salseros wanted to like, get things going. But it was not a huge bachata room. And now today it's like the biggest bachata event in Israel. So yeah, that happened unfortunately after I left. Now, like I was in the blood, sweat, and tears period, and then
Yeah.
I left, and then it blew up. Um, so yeah, I got a lot of experience just being in that environment. I didn't get paid extra; I got paid like everybody else, but that didn't matter to me. I just wanted to make sure that this place is gonna be successful. So yeah, that's how I started.
That's amazing, and realizing too, like you said, that kind of a backstory of a place where you kind of started at Havana Club, being there during, like you said, the blood, sweat, and tears stage,
Yeah.
and then fast forward, and this event now holds seven, or at the moment before pre-COVID, held 700 to 800 people a night, like you said, and
Yeah, but that was the Salsa Nights. They would have 700 people on Salsa Nights. That wasn't me. I did not. Havana Club. I did
gotcha.
not. I'm not. I'm not taking responsibility for the success of Havana Club. They took me in and they nurtured me, and they were already successful before me. But the bachata aspect of it was lacking,
Yeah.
and it was in its diapers. It wasn't lacking. Sorry, that's not the right word. It was in its diapers. So yeah, we had to work to make it grow.
And it's amazing that you'd say that, because it really shows that whether you're in Israel or you're in New York or the U.S. and Israel, when it came
Yeah,
to bachata, it had that maturation period where
yeah,
it really was at a point where it was in a very small area, small room, not well recognized, and fast forward, and now it's kind of a 180 and reversal that
yeah.
you see more bachata has been exploding
Hmm.
globally.
Right.
And now the salsa rooms now are the smaller rooms, and the
Right.
bachata rooms are kind of the takeover.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now understanding from after Havana Club, you then, like you said, moved to the States, but I'm assuming in particular you moved to New York.
Yeah.
And I think that was where me and you met. I believe it was around 2016.
It was in Alex Gonzalez's event.
Yes.
It was in Bachata Mania, which
Yes,
was like
when I think it was like the first few
yeah,
ones you were having
it
at
was
Bachata
yeah.
Mania from Alex
Yeah,
Gonzalez.
and you filmed me dancing with Yvonne. I think
Yep.
that was
Actually,
the
I had you
point.
in many videos, many visuals, because I was myself saying, so, like, this guy who's dancing, he's dancing very smooth, but he just doesn't feel like a New York dancer. Meaning is like just something was different. Something told me like I do need to know who this person is for some reason. Just it was just something in my mind was like just the way you danced with many different women or follows and
Yeah,
just seeing the fluidity and just being very calm. Because I
thank
think
you.
too in New York, especially when it came to bachata, people were so fixated on the sensual part that a lot of the men, in my opinion, as a filmer, could be stressful at times because some people don't know what they're doing on the dance floor. But for you yourself, you were definitely the exception. This is me saying it
I,
from the filmmaker perspective.
uh, okay, so I'll say one thing, not trying to throw any shade, but I had a name for it, and I called it bachata karate. It's like when you're yeah, you can't force moves on follows. And the thing is that the education
Mm.
in Israel is so like when Israelis do something, they go all the way. They go nuts to know the ins and outs of anything. That's why Israel's, if it's like technology, it's like the best in the
Hmm.
world. When it's like innovations, it's Nobel prizes. Like Israel is like such a tiny country, but everything is like so bombastic.
Hmm.
But it's the same in the dance scene. The dancers in Israel, when they found salsa, they like there was like this small group of people that went to Cuba, went to Miami, went to New York, went to this, and they didn't assume to know. They're empty cups who
Mm.
let everybody fill them with information. And I'm the same. Whenever I go into a lesson, I don't go with all my knowledge into it. I am, if I respect the instructor, I will say that. If I
Hmm.
respect the instructor, I shed all my knowledge and I ask as much questions as I can. I am the annoying student that will ask all the questions. And that's what I tell my students too. Like, I expect them to not just trust me blindly, be a better student that I am a teacher. And that is so important. Like, call out your teachers. Call out your
Yeah.
teachers. I want you to make sure that I am not speaking out of my ass. And that's what I'm telling instructors. Don't speak out of your ass. I don't know if there's any etiquette for the language in this episode.
No, don't worry. You can be as free as you can be.
Okay, butt cracks and yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is that we have to be prepared and be ready for any question.
Mm.
And I also tell my instructors always make sure to ask if there are any questions, and if they don't, I call out the students and I say, okay, so you know the thing, you show me. Like if you don't have any questions, that doesn't make sense. Be the annoying student. Be the one to ask questions. Be curious, thirsty. Be thirsty, and that's the thing about when even instructors here, everybody, I don't feel like they are thirsty to learn. I
Mm.
feel that instructors are thirsty to get students, and that is the worst thing for a scene. It's good for business, but it's not good as a dance scene that wants to show that we are, legit.
Yeah.
So part of my philosophy is make sure that you are serving your students by being better. That is point blank the most important thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, just the way you say that, because we'll definitely get into you then really becoming an instructor. And I think kind of understanding when we first met, I remember you had told me, hey, I'm planning to create my own event or my own social. It's in the
Right?
works. And I remember you invited me and I came, and this was the
Yeah.
beginnings. And then just seeing a new crowd, because I was coming from the salsa crowd. And then coming into this new environment, kind of just, of course, being receptive, but realizing off the back, there was just a different atmosphere. And I think what was really key was, especially from the beginnings of Bachata Rosa, and before we get into that, the question I definitely have is, how did the name Bachata Rosa become?
If it was like me and David were sitting at like that uh, salad bar, I think it's like on 33rd Street,
Mm-hmm.
like next to Herald Square. There's like
Yeah.
this corner salad bar. Um, I think everybody knows it. And we were sitting on the second floor and we were coming up with names. That was the entire meeting, just trying to find the name. And we were coming up with so many. I'm sure we have the list somewhere. I'm not going to look for it. But it was a bunch of ridiculous, like bachata improvement, bachata,
Yeah.
just like stuff that were like so and like cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at that name, like Jesus Christ, that's not a good name. And I think David came up with the name. I'm not sure if it was near him, but I think he was like, "How about Bachata Rosa?" We did not listen to the song. We didn't have like Juan Luis Guerra like in the
Yeah, because
background.
most people think when they hear Bachata
They
Rosa,
think,
yeah,
but I'm sure like it's like subconsciously, it was in there,
yeah,
but we just like the name. It was like it's like McDonald's. It's like you want something that kind of like it's easy to slip out your mouth. Like say, let's go to Rosa. I
yeah,
was we wanted something that is casual, that is easy to relate to, and it's the same. After I saw this Steve Jobs movie, it's like, how about Apple, right? Where he says, "How about Apple?" And it's like, why? Is that a fruit shop? So no, it's relatable. It's easy to say. It's so it was before I've seen the movie. It's just I think that same thought process was
hmm,
used. Let's use something that it doesn't have to even have the word bachata. Nobody says bachata rosa. Everybody says
yeah,
rosa.
just Rosa, yeah,
Let's go to rosa. Yeah, and I don't know why we haven't dropped the bachata. We should have, but yeah, bachata rosa was just rosa. We are rosa. If you think about it.
yeah. No, absolutely, and what I love too that was very different, especially me going to bachata events previously, was that you created at that point in the beginnings of it, you had a collective of teachers, and then you kind of really it almost became like a school. It was a school
Yeah.
that you came in, your first at least hour, you were doing classes, beginner, immediate, intermediate, advanced, and then right
Hmm.
after was kind of the social setting, the social time, but kind of having students and prospective customers coming in saying, wow, I can learn something while having fun right after. I think that was definitely different for many people.
I was using the uh, the template that we use in Israel,
Hmm.
and nobody does it here. Like when you go to wherever you went to LCL, Alex Gonzalez, the Central Movement, like there was always like a complimentary lesson. And if you wanted to take a lesson, like if you want to take professional lesson, you had to
Yeah.
go like to a separate thing, right? You had to go like find the teacher and go to where they're teaching in the studio to get a professional level lesson, and everything else was like open level. And whenever I hear open level, I start getting fever because open level is beginner. It's not open level. It's not like everybody can enjoy it, right? It's just beginner. And the thing is that and again, I think it works. It worked for, just like as a complimentary lesson. And then most of the people come to the party. Yeah. We wanted to flip it. We wanted to use the template that is working in Israel. And after we've done that, we saw other people start doing it as well. And I'm glad. I'm glad that people started to doing multi-level lessons in events, because I think that is the way to get people to get hooked. If you just do open level and if you don't do advanced lessons in the social, first of all, it's also accessible, right? Students don't have money. People go to universities, which is our core crowd is students, university, like college graduates, or people who just moved here for a new job or whatnot. Most of the people don't have the money to go to a social and pay 10, 12, 15 bucks, and also go to a studio and pay 20, 25, $30 for a lesson. That's a lot of money. So we were like, let's put it together, charge 10, 15 bucks for both. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. And you get multi-level lessons where you have a beginner and intermediate. My dream was to do 5 levels, honestly. But the space didn't allow it. And honestly, the space didn't allow it.
I completely understand. And realizing too is that, like what you said, it was following the template of what worked in Israel, bringing it to the States and saying, I'm going to make sure it works. Because like you said, you realized that was something that, especially in New York, it was lacking in a lot of bachata events, especially for my opinion. You would have classes, but it would be mainly one class, one teacher, one specific level. But now going to a social, especially at the world-renowned Stepping Out Studios, even with that spacious, but realizing that you had the opportunity to come into like a safe space, and you're now realizing that these people who are going to your classes, now they're becoming better dancers. Yeah, and I think that was different as well.
And also, part of the responsibility of the instructors, at least at the beginning. At the end, it was kind of like it kind of got lost. But part of the responsibility was we are not dancing with our friends for the first hour of the social. We are dancing with the students. They are our responsibility after the lesson, not only during. And that was the main reason for our success. It wasn't me. I don't feel that it was me. It was the ideas that I brought, and my surroundings were, they understood. Yeah, they understood, and they did the work. And that's what we need to understand. Why it was so successful is the people that I chose, or that we chose, me and David, to surround ourselves with. It's the OGs, Bachata Rosa, Mia Molina, Andrea Caleb, Allison Kate, me and David. Like us 5, we were working together as a team. Even though me and David, we were pushing the horses for sure, but we didn't have to push hard. They sometimes were running. Mia, Andrea, and Allison, they were running. Like, we didn't have to push them hard. They, like, sometimes we have to like catch up to them. They were doing such amazing work. And that's also very important, to choose people who you can consider them your friends. That is very important to me. Like, if I see a person and after a while I don't believe that I can be that person's friend, then I don't want them around.
Yeah, and I definitely respect that because I think too, even people who have to understand when it comes to a business,
Yeah,
depending on what the business is, you have to realize you have to have some camaraderie, some correlation, some communication with the people you work with.
yeah,
It's not just about you do the job for me and you leave, because what you're creating, again, in a sense, is a community within a community.
yeah, yeah. So that is very creating gravity, right? That's what you want. So if you have a strong core that people kind of like long to, right? In the longing sense, to be a part of. If you create a strong relationship with your instructors, you create something that people want to be a part of. And I think that is very important to create something that, when you see like a bunch of people kind of like sitting like in the couch like and like
Yeah.
chatting and like drinking beers and smoking weed and like I love that vibe. I want to be a part of that, right? So you see that, I don't know, like in movies or like you use TV shows, and you see like I don't know, you see Friends or you see this and you see that. Like they're so, maybe they're, they have a dysfunctional relationship, but you're like, I want to be a part of that because it's so magical. So that's what you want to create. You want to create an environment that is magical to the outside viewer, and
Mm.
and and it wasn't like it was like a master plan. We're going to be friends so people would come and pay
Yeah.
us money. It's not that. It's not the idea. The idea is that I want to do something that is special and that is different and that means something, that I will feel that we are accomplishing and making history, right?
Mm.
And if we do that, that magical, X factor, let's say, is you can't fake it.
No,
And it's because of the people that I've chosen to put around me, for sure.
no, absolutely. And I think that really what separates you from a lot of event organizers or just event planners, is really that you focus on creating such a humble environment. You creating just like I said, a community within a community of people just really caring about the culture. And again, with events over the years, I mean, I think you guys had just finished. I think was it last year the third anniversary.
Third anniversary.
It was the third anniversary,
Coming
and
up the fourth.
yeah, I know, and realizing like, especially for a person like myself, being there from the beginnings and being able to film, and me just thanking you so much for me, because me being able to hone my skills and get better as a videographer, coming to your events, and then now being able to have the opportunities for organizers to message me and say, I saw a video you did at Bachata Rosa. I want you to travel now to my events. And for me, that's why I loved your events so much and appreciated just your friendship, because we both understood that what you had or what you have is special, and that the people that are coming into your events, they kind of leave a little bit more refreshed than they when they came in. A lot of people now, 3+ years later, everybody's saying, "All right, when's the next Bachata Rosa?" Of course, not right now, but when we did have these events, I mean, there was always a crowd at your events, and even with like people understand in New York.
Not always, but most of the
No,
time.
most of the time, and don't get me wrong, especially in New York, we have a saturation of events happening like crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, overlapping other events. It happens, but realizing it's events like yours that you kind of have your main staples. But what I love is that, especially before we kind of transition into our new segment, was really I appreciated that your event started bringing in newer talent, started bringing in newer dancers, people who were just learning. And I think that was the key because, like you said, your intention was to create the same formula and template that you had in Israel, bringing it here. And now, with 3+ years later, you have to start realizing how many dancers started at Bachata Rosa from just taking classes and
Yeah.
actually progressing. I mean, that's awesome.
And now some of them are even teachers everywhere else.
So I mean, to be
Yeah.
honest, you could really say is Bachata Rosa breeded a whole new generation of dancers, especially in New York.
I will say something about that. I told David off the bat, I don't care about. Well, sorry. Let me rephrase. My number one priority is not existing dancers. I do care about them. That was a poorly chosen set of
I
words.
know exactly where you're going with it, though.
But I always said I'm not counting on existing dancers because existing dancers already dance
Hmm.
and they will go wherever they want to go. They will go wherever they have a good time. I will make sure to have a good environment for sure. And Bachata Rosa kind of like had that name of like where all the good dancers go to, which I don't
Yes.
know why that happened
I
because
mean,
I'll explain. Because they're like when you think about when in the salsa scene, all the good dancers go to all like the fancy things, right? Like when you go to when you see like I don't know if you go to Taj, if you go to um, Alex Gonzalez's events in I don't know where was that dance sport.
it used to be a dance sport. It
Yeah,
had
yeah,
since.
but it's like everybody's like dressing fancy and you have booze and this and that. And Rosa was like, "You're not allowed to have drinks." Like people were drinking, but you like we didn't have
Yeah.
a bar. We did like we didn't. We were. I was like always like a black shirt and jeans, and it wasn't like prestige. It wasn't fancy, but that's where all the good dancers were going. And I don't know why that happened, but I do think that it's because we didn't care. We didn't care about the fancy. We didn't care
Yeah.
about the glamour. We didn't put lights all over them, around. And like, I was putting a playlist at the beginning, like that. The idea was that we're coming for the dance, and I'm sure that most of the good dancers, that's what they were looking for. They were looking for a place that where they could shed all of the glamour, shed all of the like the pressure of like dressing nice and like looking fabulous and blah, 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 and just relax
Yeah.
into consensual bachata specifically. I feel that it was part of that starting of that movement of connection and dance,
Hmm.
right? And then you have Zouk and Kizomba, where again the emphasis is not on like how big you dance and how glamorous you are. And that was also something that I was carrying with myself when I heard one of my teachers way back when, that he said you need to dance from the inside out and not from the outside in.
Hmm.
Like you don't need to get your fix from what people are thinking about you. Like if you do all the sha sha hoo, hoo,
Yeah.
hoo, dance karate, bachata karate, all of that like super like flexing kind of dance, you're dancing for other people. Then
Absolutely.
you're dancing for who's watching,
Mm.
which is nice, but you have to dance from the inside out. You have to
There's
connect
more
with
to it. Yeah.
yourself. Connect
Hmm.
with not even connecting with your partner, but connect with yourself. Feel,
Mm.
feel that like feelings, right? Dance is feelings. It's like it's happiness without all the pressure of what people are thinking about me. So that's why I think also when you saw me dance like in Alex Gonzalez's, I didn't care that people are watching me. I
Yeah.
didn't care that you were filming me. I enjoyed your comments afterwards, but I always try to dance from the inside out and not from the outside in. Like how to get my fix. I'll say it that way.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, and at least before we really get into understanding now the present and everything that's been going on, it's a
Yeah.
quick segment I love to do. It's called the
Good.
randoms, which is 10 questions, about 5 seconds each you have to answer. It allows me and the audience to get to know you a lot better, but in a faster time. So please let
Let's
me
do it.
know when you are ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Number one is favorite food.
Burritos.
All right. I would thought you would have said a smoothie maybe.
That's not food. That's
Okay.
beverage.
Beverage. Favorite workout song.
Workout song. I don't work out,
All
man.
right. Favorite dance song, like to go out when you're at a social. The one song that you know if you hear it, you got to dance with someone.
I got a feeling by Justin Timberlake.
All right. Dream vacation destination.
Uh, Aruba.
Okay. What did you want to be at 10 years old?
I'm a musician.
Okay. What's your spirit animal?
A lion.
Okay. Someone else got that too. Partner work or footwork?
Partner work.
What would be your superpower?
What would be my superpower? To eat whatever I want and don't get fat.
Okay. Three people who are most influential to you at this point.
At this point in my life.
Yes.
Okay. My mom, my brother, and my dad. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Perfect. Special talent that many wouldn't know you have.
Special talents that people don't know I have.
Or maybe very few people know that you have.
Okay. I can make an elephant sound.
Okay.
I used to be able to do a backflip. Not so much today, but I did a backflip, but way back when. Another talent of mine is I play basketball.
Awesome. And the last one would be if you were on an island, what are three things that you would have to have with you?
If it wasn't three things I would have to have with me. The love of my life. I don't know who that is, but the love of my life. Another thing that I would have to have with me is food. I have to have food. And my gaming set.
All right, perfect. And again, I want to thank you so much for doing this quick little segment. I definitely learned a lot of more about you in very short a time. And I'll
Thank you
definitely
for
see
having
you
me.
when I definitely see you in person. I'll see about that elephant noise. I got to see
I
what
can
that's
do it right now.
about. Well, if you want to do it right now.
Hold on. I need to make sure my lips
Okay.
aren't back. Oh, I gotta nail it now.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You actually know how to do it. Okay. There you go.
An elephant sound. Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely. And now it kind of helps me now transition into understanding now the present and understanding what we're all kind of really going through, especially in New York City. Since about February, March, we've really been, we started with COVID and realized that it kind of took our dance community and kind of made us just say, stop the play button and really kind of reset and rewind in a sense. And we've really seen over the last few months many dance studios, many socials that we love no longer around. But realizing in the last few months, certain events in certain cities, even in New York, have been slowly creeping up and realizing under certain guidelines they're trying to work their way around into bringing back some type of events. But really, for me, I really would love to understand from your perspective of being an event organizer, of being a DJ, of being a performer, but just being a person of the community. How have you been able to understand everything that's been going on and being able to adapt, really?
So the way that I adapted is that I stopped doing socials and I stopped, dancing with big crowds. That's the adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Like many people didn't adapt, and it worked out for most of them, I guess. But I made a decision with myself that until it's perfectly safe, I'm not going to run socials because I think that as an organizer, I have a responsibility for my community, even if my community don't see it.
Yeah.
It's like being a parent. Sometimes you need to know better than your kids. Now, I also don't want to it's not from an elitistic point of view. It's not that I know better. It's just that I have a responsibility
Yeah.
for my dancers, and I need to make sure that people are safe. And I think that the best way to do that is to not allow, well, at least I will not enable that to happen. If other people enable that to happen, I don't think that that's the right move. But I'm not their actual parent, so
Yeah.
so they can do whatever they want to do. I have voiced my concerns in other people's posts and in other people's comments. I am worried about people, and that's why I voice them. I am not like in your face kind of, other
Yeah.
people have been more in your face kind of, activists. And I will say I have helped, like I told you privately, to do an event for something that was more about a social climate issue. Valentina, she did amazing work fighting for the Black Lives Matter movement, and she came to me about wanting to really take it to the next step, and I helped her bring it to life. But it was all her. Like she was doing all the blood, sweat, and tears for that, and I was just helping her. Gave my little advice when needed, and yeah, we made it happen, and we actually raised. I don't remember how much, but we raised like over $1,000 for Black Lives Matter, and that was great. I think it was almost $2,000,
Wow.
I believe. Yeah, for Black Lives Matter movement, and we had people helping us. We had an amazing lineup of instructors, mostly from New York, also from New Jersey and Boston, that were a part of this. I don't want to start naming because I will probably forget, and then people get offended, and then I'm in trouble. I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, so I thought that was an important thing to do, but we also made sure that we're doing it the right way. So the first event that we did was online. We did online lessons, and it was amazing. It was great. We had amazing instructors, and a lot of people donated and took classes. And then we did some outside events where mostly people didn't really show up, so it wasn't like a lot of danger there, but we were ready to stop the music when people don't put their masks on. And we even had that idea that we stole from West Coast Swing, like swinger community. They did something really great. They took chalk and like marked dancing areas for couples, which was great, like 6 feet apart, and then you had to dance within those circles. And that was so smart, and we were like, let's do that. We didn't get a chance to do it, but we were thinking about ways to make it safe. So yeah, when we saw that it wasn't like picking up, we decided, well, she decided that we're going to like lay back. But I wasn't going to initiate any events. I wasn't going to do like big scale events outside or inside. Don't think that it's the right time. And I think that as organizers, we have a responsibility for our community, and we need to be, on top of that.
Absolutely. And I'm just being able to really have you on tonight, it means a lot, because especially with a person like yourself, like you said, the one key word you talk about very heavily is responsibility.
Yeah.
And realizing that an organizer like yourself constantly reminds that, hey, we need to be responsible as a collective, as leaders in our community. We really do need to have more responsibility and look out for our dancers and the people that support our events. You
Yeah,
know,
it was a hard decision. It was because, you know, Bachata Rosa was at the end of the day, it was also a business that I was
yeah,
running. And, you know, a lot of my instructors were, you know, it was part of their livelihood. It was definitely a big part of my livelihood.
yeah,
Um, Even though it was like my hobby at the end of the day, but it wasn't like, this is not what I do. I'm a musician. But the fact that I had this one night a week that was, you know, it was part of my livelihood. Like, I'm just being honest about it. I'm not trying to hide it. Uh, but I thought that it was more important to not think about only how much money I'm making, but also to think about other people's lives.
mm,
That is point blank, you know, the most important thing. How
yeah.
much money I'm making is not nearly as important as making sure that people don't get sick.
Absolutely. And I think too, honestly, having us being able to talk tonight, I think really shows our dance community as a whole how much you truly care about them. Because
Yeah.
it's not about you just denouncing anyone doing an event, but you saying for your personal sake that even with Bachata Rosa and even with the reach that it has, you're willing to say, I'm going to hold off for the benefit of my community. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I think it takes a lot of humility to do that. It takes a lot of courage to
Thank
do
you.
that and bravery. And, you know, for me, just being able again to have you on tonight has been awesome. And at least too, you know, I think I've learned a lot more about you in a couple years that I've known you, but getting even tonight, this quick little talk that we can have and understand really where it all started and understanding your kind of your viewpoints now. I really agree with everything you've been saying tonight. And for me, I've
Thank you.
always told you that, you know, when things do get back to a new normal,
Yeah.
when we're able to have an event, I'll definitely be there and support
Yeah.
because
But Chata Rosa is not done. We're not done. We're just on a, you know, brief commercial break.
yes, you know, and honestly, it's great that we had this opportunity to talk, and you know, at least before we really conclude things, and I really would love if you can give myself and the audience some last few words as well.
Uh, Last few words. Oh shit! So much pressure. I have to make it. Ah, I think I've said like most of my, you know, in your face phrases. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think. Uh, okay. So I think that as a community or as in, you know, humankind, we are most measured by our actions in difficult times.
Yeah.
And if we are letting our desires get the best of us, we will come out, you know, behind. That's why, you know, if it's in climate change where you have oil companies who care more about how much money they're making rather than making sure that the planet is going to survive. And if it's a politician who care about more about their seat rather than like the greater good, or if it's, I don't know, all of that. This is where we are measured. We are measured by how we are uh, taking responsibility for our community. Now, we are a small community. The dance community is not a huge community. So everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody. We have to be responsible for each other. And, you know, we are not politicians and we are not celebs and we're not all of that. We are, at the end of the day, you know, just like you said, we're all humble. We chose a field that is not as glamorous as we like to think it is.
Yeah.
Right? We're not living in, you know, big mansions. Maybe Tito Puente has, but yeah, it's yeah. We're dancers, and we have to make sure that we'll have what to come back to.
Awesome, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and to be honest, again, I know that when Bachata Rosa definitely comes back, it's going to be bigger and better than ever. And I know that the people that attend your events, they understand, your supporters understand why you're doing what you're doing. And I know
Thank you.
when things come back, it'll be definitely bigger than ever. And, honestly, again, I'm glad I've had the privilege to be able to have this discussion with you and getting people to understand you how I understand you. And again, realizing that it's more than what you just contribute to a dance floor, to the dancers, but what you contribute
Yeah.
to society as a whole. And I think,
Thank
of
you.
course, you being a musician, being a son, being a DJ, all of the roles you play, you've kind of again gradually just you've been able to flow through everything, and it seems to me now that again, even through the hardest times we're going through, you know how to adapt. But that also is due to me and you having the experience of being in the military, and we have
Yeah.
that. So we know how
That's
to
true.
adapt.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
I definitely, again, Dore, I have had the ultimate pleasure of having you on tonight. And at least before we go, is there any contact information that you can leave myself and the audience with so they can reach out to you for any more information?
Just look me up on Facebook. It's my name, Dore Kalmar. Just look me up, hit me up. I'm not ghosting.
Perfect. But again, Dora, thank you so much. I know you're a busy man, and I'm glad I've had this opportunity to talk with you and pick your brain on things. And definitely soon enough, we'll definitely all reunite and just talk about everything.
100%.
Absolutely, brother. So, uh,
Okay, I will say one thing that I have been saying since the beginning, and I'll leave you with that. We are eager to come back, but we're not in a hurry.
mm, I
We
like
are
that.
we are eager, but we're not in a hurry. That's my closing segment.
I love it. We are eager to come back, but not in a hurry. And I'll
Yeah,
definitely take that quote with me down the line, especially as a
awesome.
videographer in the scene. And I definitely can't wait to see you again. And we all can dance under the same roof in a sense. So,
Yeah, yeah, 100.
so
Thank you,
absolutely.
Diamond.
Thank you, brother. Have a great time. Be safe. And we'll definitely talk soon.
100%. See you soon.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
brother. All right, thank you everyone. We had a great episode tonight with Dore Kalmar. Man, I had such a wonderful conversation with him, understanding the beginnings all the way in Israel, kind of how he really got his start in New York, and really understanding presently how he's been able to adapt during quarantine and through COVID, and realizing that there is a future for Bachata Rosa. And me, myself, I definitely can't wait to see it. So, again, I thank everyone tonight who's been able to watch this amazing interview that we have had with Dore Kalmar. And my name is Diamond Rivera with Live Discussions with Diamond Podcast. And I'll see you soon. Have a good night.